The HOA president stormed down to my dock on the 4th of July and told my guests to get off the water. She waved her clipboard like it was a badge of authority and declared that half my yard, my dock, even my picnic table were suddenly HOA common property. And when I looked her in the eye and said, "This is my private land," her smile froze like cracked ice. That was the moment I knew my summer by the lake was about to turn into a war. My name's Caleb Morgan, and this place isn't just a house to me. It's my grandfather's legacy. The rocky shoreline, the old oak tree by the cove, the dock where he taught me how to tie knots. He used to tell me, people will always try to take what's beautiful. At the time I thought he was being dramatic, but the older I got, the more I realized he was just telling me a simple fact. And standing there that day, burgers smoking on the grill, friends laughing, lake sparkling like glass, I watched Karen Lawson, president of the Lakeview Meadows HOA, walk toward me like she owned the air I was breathing. She didn't even say hello. "Caleb, we need to talk about your boundary," just like that. She claimed the shoreline had shifted, that erosion had pushed my property line back, and that by some magical authority of the HOA, my dock and half my lawn now belonged to the community. Then she raised her phone like she was issuing citations on the spot, ordering kids out of kayaks, demanding coolers be moved off the grass. It was surreal, like I had wandered into a bad sitcom. I told her calmly the boundary had been the same for 80 years. She smirked, promised to take steps, and marched back up the trail. My guests stared at me in silence. That was the beginning. The next morning, my routine walk down to the dock felt different. First thing I saw was a scatter of roofing nails on the trail, points up carefully placed where a bare foot or a dog paw would land. Not an accident. Then I smelled it bleach, sharp and chemical. Someone had poured it all over the dock, stripping the wood, making it slick. It ran into the water, leaving white clouds swirling in my cove. And just when I thought it couldn't get more blatant, a drone buzzed overhead, its camera blinking red, hovering to film my reaction. I recorded everything, time-stamped video, bagged the nails, documented it all. Because this wasn't neighborly drama anymore. This was intimidation. And then I found the fake survey pin. Bright orange cap, shiny new rebar, hammered into the dirt right where Karen had gestured. I knew every inch of my property, every monument my grandfather had shown me. That pin wasn't there before. It was a plant manufactured evidence meant to rewrite the line. My stomach dropped. This wasn't bluster, they were building a lie piece by piece. That's when I called in reinforcements. Dana Ruiz, the county game warden, sharp-eyed and no nonsense. She takes it personal when someone messes with the lake. She saw the bleach and the nails and shook her head. "This is garbage, Caleb. Amateur intimidation." Then I called Evan Pike, a licensed surveyor who'd mapped my land with my granddad back in the 90s. He showed up with his field book, took one look at the pin and said, "Fraud, pure and simple." His voice had that weight of authority that cuts through the noise. I should have felt confident then, but instead I felt this wave of exhaustion. I remember standing on my porch, staring out at the water, thinking maybe I should just give up. Let them take a few feet of land. What's the worst that could happen? At least I'd have peace. Maybe I was being stubborn. Maybe I was wrong. That thought almost broke me. But then I remembered my grandfather's words, knowing where your lines are isn't just about property, it's about who you are. If I let them steal this, what else would I let go? That thought snapped me back. No, I wasn't giving in, not 1 inch. So we set a trap. Nate, my best friend and a former Marine, knew how to run surveillance. We set trail cameras, infrared, night vision goggles, the whole deal. Evan monitored feeds from the house Dana stayed within reach. Nate and I crouched in the brush near that fake pin waiting. Hours ticked by. Around 2 a.m. we saw movement. One figure clumsy creeping down the trail. It was Rob Hale, the HOA handyman, carrying a bag. He pulled out a roll of yellow string spray paint and a hammer. My jaw clenched. He tied the string to the fake pin and started stretching it across my lawn right toward my dock. Nate whispered, "Wait. Let him commit." So we watched as Rob lined up his fraud. He reached the dock hammer raised, ready to drive his lie into the wood of my property. That's when we stepped out of the shadows. "That's far enough, Rob." His head snapped up, eyes wide. He stammered something about Karen said quick in, quick out, then panicked and swung the hammer. Nate moved like lightning, deflected his arm, twisted his wrist. Hammer clattered to the dock. Rob locked up in a control hold before he even knew what hit him. I dialed 911, calm and clear. Trespasser detained, weapon secured. Minutes later, sheriff's cruisers rolled in, lights bouncing off the trees. Deputies cuffed Rob, bagged the hammer, the paint, the string. Evidence plain and simple. Dana arrived, saw the yellow line stretched across my yard, and said, "This isn't a boundary dispute. This is a crime scene." She was right. But catching Rob was only the middle of the fight. To kill the lie, we had to expose the source. A neighbor slipped me an envelope before the HOA meeting emails between Karen and Rob, subject line boundary project. Purchases of rebar and caps, instructions on where to plant the pin, even invoices billed to the HOA. It was the smoking gun. 2 nights later, I walked into the HOA board meeting with a projector under my arm. Room full of residents. Karen sitting smug at the head of the table. She introduced me with a smirk. "Next, Mr. Morgan has some concerns about the community greenbelt." I stood up, plugged in the projector, and said, "I'm not here with concerns. I'm here with facts." I started with photos of the nails, the bleach-streaked dock, then the shiny fake pin. Murmurs rippled through the room. Karen interrupted, snapping baseless accusations. I cut her off. Not accusations. Evidence. And then I played the video. Rob creeping through the night, tying the string, swinging the hammer, Nate disarming him. The room gasped. One board member muttered, "That's my handyman." Another resident said, "We paid for this." Karen lunged for the HDMI cable, but Nate calmly planted his boot on it, and the footage rolled on. And then came the emails. I clicked through them one by one. Karen's own words instructing Rob to place a new marker, claim erosion, push the boundary. The room erupted, shock, anger, betrayal. Karen's face drained of color. She tried to shout me down, but her voice cracked. She was finished. Everyone saw it. The Empress had no clothes. The sheriff's department seized her computer the next morning. The HOA board voted her out in an emergency session. Charges stacked up: fraud, trespassing, vandalism, environmental violations. The case went to court, and the judge didn't even need a full trial. With the survey, the video, the emails, it was over. Summary judgment in my favor, damages awarded, the fraudulent line declared null. And as the gavel came down, Karen Lawson sat frozen, her empire of lies collapsing around her. That was the end. Not with celebration, not with high fives or fireworks, but with the quiet, undeniable sound of truth snapping shut like a steel trap. And if there's one thing I learned, it's this. When someone tries to steal what's yours, don't fight them with anger, fight them with proof.